On the night in question, I was leaving the building after being on duty from early morning at about 5 to 8, and my attention was drawn to smoke coming from what we knew as the Arnold Palmer Golf Links area. Now, in this area, the main structure of the building, it was clad in what's known as galbestos, pitch-covered galvanized steel, and that was riveted to the main steel structure. I noticed as the boys were trying to contain the fire with the hose that the steel was expanding and the galbestos plates were buckling and the wind was blowing the flames interior of the building. Now, I knew inside the actual structure at this point was lined further with 3x2 studding, which held the inside wall. I realized that if this went on fire, something really serious was going to happen. So I left the boys with the hose and tried to give them instruction to pull the thing away from the building, but the heat was so intense we couldn't get near enough. So I returned into the building and went up into the show bar area, the actual bar area of the show bar, smashed a hole in the wall and took a hose from the nearest point and pushed it into the wall to try to contain the fire from the top with this single hose. You must remember the hoses were not what we would accept as a fire hose. They weren't much more than garden hoses, only inch bore rubber. And we'd had a problem earlier on in the season with this area with low pressure. I went back into the show bar where there was 200 odd people sitting, and I instructed the manageress to evacuate the premises immediately. Now, in them days, it was acceptable that a key to all emergency doors could be placed in a glass box in the vicinity. I immediately went to the glass boxes, took out the keys, and got through the crush to do this, and it was a bit hard going, and opened all the doors, and everybody then started to emerge from the building and run down towards the bath exit. There was panic in one area where the key could not be located, but I knew where the key was, and I got the key, opened the door, and people did flood into the bath area. Now, it's always concerned me why a lot of people, well, most people in actual fact, who died were gassed. The cause of this was the main refrigeration system for the building had one compressor behind the garden bar on the same level as the show bar. This compressor supplied gas, freon gas, through copper pipes around to various cooling points in the show bar and the bar areas. Now, I'd had experience with freon gas as an engineer at sea, and I knew that under circumstances of heat or flame being near it, it burnt and turned into phosgene. So by the time I got back to the ground floor and round to the back of the building, the fire brigade said, "Don't go in, there's a very severe gas in there." The whole, what I would say, the Onken side of the building, which was clad in galbestos, torched very, very quickly. And then when that had burnt out, it then spread along to what we know as oroglass. But by this time, most of the building had, most of the damage had been done, and oroglass was only a casing, and at that time there was nobody in the building. And she was in a blue dress. We couldn't get up to her, so we said to her, "Jump." She climbed over the railings, and she actually lowered herself as much as she could, and she fell onto the steps. And Sanford and I picked her up and carried her to the front entrance. At that time, we also noticed there were two little boys sitting in the pool beneath the waterfall, just outside the building. And we had to get them out as well. But they were the last people which we seen in the building, apart from ourselves. And it was next morning before the full consequence of the fire was, we were able to find out what happened and where the bodies were. And if you ever look at a map, you will find they were all congregated round about the back staircase where this phosgene gas did the damage.